Hey everyone, welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage on this Saturday, October 12th, 2024. And we're going to be talking about unseasonably warm conditions across North America, not only for the United States, but also for parts of Canada and Mexico as well. We're going to be going over the precipitation forecasts over the next 7 to 10 days or so, and the tropical weather update at the end of the video. Sound good? So make sure to subscribe to the channel, make sure to like the video down below, and leave any comments, questions, concerns below. We'll get to those after the video. What you're looking at now is the temperature anomaly map across North America, and this basically shows you if the temperatures are above average, and if they are, you can see they're in the orange, red shaded colors with some whites down here. Those are above average temperatures across the central United States and out west, and then below average is actually in the blue shaded colors and even the green here, the most below average way up here into northern Canada. But you can see we also do have some blues across eastern Canada and eastern parts of the United States today as well. As we go into Sunday, we're going to have a stronger cold front dropping south from Canada into the Great Lakes and upper Midwest region. That will cool us off big time to end the weekend up there for places like Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Milwaukee, Chicago, over here to Detroit, even as far east as Albany, New York, and Boston. We're going to be cooling down for your Sunday. Meanwhile, above average temperatures will continue tomorrow across portions of Western Canada, Alaska, all the way down into the western U.S. and the southern U.S. as well, where we've been baking with the heat here late this fall. We continue to see that across Texas, over here into Louisiana and Mississippi, in areas over there into the southeast as we go into Sunday. Let's peek at those temperatures and show you what you can expect for highs this afternoon. Notice the cooler air is already starting to move in to the upper Great Lakes region this afternoon. Places up here into Duluth, Minnesota, barely getting into the 50-degree mark here this afternoon. 59 on the Milwaukee lakefront there into this afternoon. 84 in contrast down in St. Louis. 90 here in Tulsa. 91 in Oklahoma City, and 91 over into Amarillo. As you wake up Sunday morning, if you have any church services to attend or any errands you have to run, make sure to pack a jacket or a light coat out there, especially the further north you go into Canada or the northern U.S. We're going to be seeing temperatures starting off in the 30s and the 40s out there, and even some areas here in southern Alberta, southern Saskatchewan, that could be starting in the mid and upper 20s. So that's a hard freeze and frost across those regions that we'll be keeping an eye on. In stark contrast, down here into Arkansas, like Little Rock, we're going to start off at 70 tomorrow morning, 70 down here into Shreveport, and 63 respectively into the St. Louis region. And as we go into Sunday afternoon, that cold front that's starting to move in today will drop even further south into the U.S. tomorrow for Sunday. So high temperatures on the lakefront in Chicago at 63, 48, very chilly up there into Green Bay on the lakefront there on Sunday, 52 as we go into Detroit, and 80 in the Atlanta area, and then 95 back into the Dallas-Fort Worth area for tomorrow afternoon. And you can see the heat starting to build further west. It's not overly hot, but above average for this time of year. So we're talking more 70s and 80s further to the west. What about precipitation? Well, those prospects are pretty low unless you're into the Great Lakes region. With that cold front dropping south, that could squeeze out some moisture across Wisconsin, across northern Illinois, Michigan, northern Indiana, and northern Ohio. Maybe some showers there across Minnesota as well. And those promise to be very light showers at that. And then as we go into tonight, maybe a little bit more moderate rain shower activity from Lake Erie all the way back towards southern Lake Michigan, including cities like Chicago, into the Fort Wayne area, Toledo, and Detroit. We'll be keeping a very close eye on you. Then as we go into Sunday, we could see those showers festering around the Great Lakes region and into the Northeast. Otherwise, high pressure in firm control across the middle and western two-thirds of the country and down to the south as we see bone dry conditions continue into your Sunday. And it is confirmed here on this map. Look at the rainfall. We can see it's really up here around the Great Lakes region over into the northeastern U.S., where we do see those rainfall amounts averaging around 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch. And some lucky areas could see an inch of rain. And I say lucky because a lot of these areas have been very dry, with drought expanding and intensifying over the past few days. We won't be as lucky though across the plains. I know we have drought really starting to develop a lot across the United States. A lot of areas will be dry going through the weekend. weekend. Now, it is getting to that time of year. We're going to have to watch out for snowfall, and it's not across the U.S. or the Rockies or anything, but looking up here into Alaska, I guess that is the U.S., we are actually seeing some heavier snows into coastal Alaska there, into parts of southwestern Yukon, into northwestern portions of British Columbia, Canada. Some of those areas in the highest of elevations could be pushing 60, 70, 80 inches worth of snowfall just over the next 48 hours or so. Let's look at the weather pattern map here as we go into next week. This is Monday, October 14th through Friday, October 18th. Big trough over here in the eastern U.S. That's going to really cool us down, and some of the coldest air of the season out here, and then that ridge of high pressure spiking all the way up into central Canada and out west still, and then another trough over here in the northeast Pacific and cooling us off in the western Canadian provinces of Yukon, British Columbia, and the Northwest Territories, as well as Alaska. So let's look at the temperature anomaly map going into next week. This is, again, Monday, October 14th through Friday, October 18th. The warmest of air above average will be across western and central Canada. That'll bleed down further south into the central and western U.S., although the west coast of the United States, coastal California, Oregon, and western Washington state up there, the coastline of western Canada up into Alaska, we're going to be leaning slightly below average with our temperatures through next week. And then very chilly conditions and promises to be one of the coolest air masses of the season thus far across the eastern U.S. next week, with areas over here that could be 20 to 25 degrees below the average for this time of year, which would be mid-October. So let's walk you through that. Monday afternoon, it's going to be chilly. We're going to be hard-pressed to get above the 45-degree mark across a lot of the Northeast, especially interior New England, as we go in towards Monday afternoon. Upper Midwest struggling to reach the 50s. Look at the 90s, pressed down all the way down to the Gulf Coast here. Wednesday, we get rid of those 90s and replace them with 70s and 80s, so a lot of a cooler air mass. Look at Dallas, 74 on Wednesday, 51 in contrast in Chicago, 55 in Minneapolis, and 71 over in Helena, Montana as we go into Wednesday. Then as we go into Friday, some of that cooler air replaced by some milder air. We see temperatures in the 60s and 70s, nothing we can't handle, but you can see more cool air moving in out west here across western Canada and the northwest U.S. More 40s, more 50s, and 60s for highs for Friday afternoon to end the work week. And as we go through next week, going to be another dry week, especially in the central and eastern U.S. Even though we have a trough, usually that marks some active weather. We may have some showers up here and some higher elevation snows for eastern Canada and northeast United States. But outside of that, pretty dry, and then a little bit more active weather for the western U.S. and western Canada, especially for places in the U.S. like Seattle, Portland, Eugene, all the way down into the Sacramento Valley of California, starting to see some moisture finally out there. And some of this will come in some heavy rounds as well. We could be seeing heavy rounds of rain for Seattle, a couple inches on the way there, into Portland as well, Eugene, Medford, all the way down here into Northern California. Could even be seeing anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of rain. Snowfall, we're going to be laying out that foundation of that snowpack further north and west into Canada especially, but even the Rockies starting to get in on a few inches of snow, and even the Cascades up here into the Pacific Northwest next week, and parts of the Cascades in Washington state there could be picking up anywhere from 40 to 50 inches worth of snow as we go through next week. Turning over to the tropics, it has been a very active tropical season, at least the second half of the season. We're quieting it down, at least for now. We got post-tropical cyclone Leslie out here as a fish storm in the central and northern Atlantic. We got another area of interest, has a medium probability, 40-50% chance over the next few days, but notice it is thousands of miles away from the United States, so not a threat to land. But looking at the ocean temperature in degrees Celsius here, we are still seeing well above average sea surface temperatures into the Gulf, into the Caribbean, and the Northwest Atlantic. So any systems that can take advantage of that profile, that temperature profile that we see in the ocean, could definitely start to, gain intensity as we go into late October and even early November. Here is the latest from the experts over at the Climate Prediction Center. And as we go into the second half of October, this is October 16th through October 22nd, there may be some things to watch with the Central American gyre out here. Basically a big low pressure system that could develop into a tropical storm or a hurricane, even a major hurricane again. We'll have to watch for the Western Caribbean and maybe over here toward the Yucatan, and same area even as we go toward Halloween time frame as well. So something to keep an eye on in the long range, and we'll keep you updated right here on this channel. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below for the latest weather information right at your fingertips. We got you with videos and live streams and everything in between. Make sure to press the like button down below if you did enjoy today's weather forecast, and of course leave any comments, questions, and concerns. We'll get to those later on after my video here, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Saturday out there.